Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone and everywhere. Thank you for joining our webinar today. We are glad that so many people are joining from all over the world. My name is Clarissa Rademacher, and I'm representing the Research in Germany initiative executed by the German Academic Exchange Service and funded by the Federal Ministry of Research, Technology and Space. And I will be today's moderator. In the background, my colleagues Ingi Nafi and Jana Schröder will be assisting with the Q&A box moderation and technical support. Ingi will also provide you with an overview of Germany's funding system. And today we are hosting the 7th episode of our event series, Meet Your Future You. And our research shows that one of the most effective ways to share information is through individuals who have already navigated that journey and can provide first-hand insights in both the advantages and challenges from an international perspective. Today, we focus on Germany's research funding system and the connected application process, one of the most in-demand topics, actually. This format will continue evolve based on your preferences, and we plan to organize more topic and region-focused online events like this. So therefore, your feedback at the end of today's session will be highly valuable. I remind you of that later on again. We are very fortunate to have experienced researchers who have successfully started their funding journeys and established themselves in Germany. And we have Mr. Bude here with us today, an esteemed representative of the DAAD, the German Academic Exchange Service. But before we get to meet all of them and to ensure a smooth and interactive session, I'd like to quickly familiarize you with the key features of WebEx webinars. So here is a brief overview for you. So for questions that you would like to address during the Q&A session at the end, please use the Q&A box only, which is indicated here. And if you have questions referring to one specific speaker, please mention his or her name in your comment. That way we will be able to moderate them accordingly, or the speaker, her or himself, can respond to them in the Q&A box directly. The chat box you can see here is for technical issues, and you can use reactions at any time, of course. And as mentioned and agreed upon during the registration process, we are recording the event, and this recording will be accessible on our website to all participants after the session, as well as the presentation of today's event. All right, we will begin with our presentation on Germany's funding system, which is going to be held by Ingi, and then it's going to be followed by Mr. Bude's presentation, then Rana's and Manuel's contributions through presentations or interviews, as you will see. So we have designed this well-structured program, including an institutional perspective by Mr. Bude, the perspective of the DAAD, and 2 presentations by researchers who will take you along their application processes towards funding. At the end, there will be plenty of time for your questions during our Q&A session. So finally, please remember today's focus is solely on the application process for funding in research careers. All right, and as you know now, what to expect from today's session, we would like to get to know you a little more, dear audience. So therefore, we have prepared a few short warm-up questions we would like you to answer now. So I will stop sharing my screen, and Ingi will share the questions with you we have prepared.
Yes.
Yeah, so first of all, we would like to know your academic level so that we know who we are actually addressing. This is different for each and every episode, so it's quite interesting. I can see there are so many postdocs here with us today. That's great. Interesting. Quite a number of PhD students as well, but there are bachelors as well and even masters. Interesting. But it seems like the number of postdocs is the dominant number. Let's wait a few more seconds to see. Yeah, but it's constant. There are many postdocs here with us. Great. Welcome. But of course, all the PhD candidates and master students and bachelor students are very welcome to. The next question would be, what is your current academic discipline? So let's see your scientific background. Engineering sciences, the STEM fields, agriculture and forest sciences, humanities and social sciences.
If you're joining us through the webcast, maybe you can click on the S next to the chat button, and there you have on the right side the polls. So in case if you cannot find it, that would be the way to get to the polls.
Exactly, on the screen Ingi is sharing, you can see this S symbol on the top left side. This is the sign you have to be looking for. So the people from mathematics and natural sciences seem to be the biggest group today. Very interesting. Let's go to the next question. In which country are you currently located? That is quite interesting. I hope that we are a very diverse international group today. So let's see where you're all located at the moment. Just writing down the country is sufficient. United States, Germany, 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 Madagascar, Brazil, Thailand, Nigeria, Bangladesh, Japan, India, Vietnam. Wow. So all the different areas of the world, Italy, Senegal, Turkey, Mexico, Italy, great.
We have a few people who woke up really early to join us today.
Wow, that's great. Thanks for the effort, for being here, showing up here. Perfect. So now a little question which is connected to our topic today. What is your biggest concern when applying for funding? That will be interesting also maybe for our dear panelists, so that you know if you might have faced similar barriers during your application processes. I'm sure failure, yeah. That's all part of the process. Competition. Finding the right code, chances are very low. Budget cuts. Eligibility. Success rate. Budget. Number of publications. Interesting. Calls, applications, open. Age. Yeah, it's interesting. We can filter already that there are a few things which are common concerns. So it's very interesting to hear that you are facing all quite similar issues.
And I think we will be tackling a couple of them today. Of course, we won't be able to cover everything, but at least some of them will be able to help you, or at least give you a little bit of guidance. So that's great.
Exactly. Lucky for those who are here today with us. All right. Maybe we go to the last question now. Have you ever applied for research funding in Germany before? Yes, no, or planning to apply soon? That would be quite interesting for all of us to know. Okay, there is a constant battle between no and planning to apply soon. Yeah, that's great. I mean, if so many people are planning to apply soon, it's great. Maybe we can give some final tips on what to keep in mind when applying. All right, seems to stay like this.
Okay.
Hey,
Great.
thank you. I think now we're all somehow prepared on who we are talking to, and we're so thankful for your replies. And now over to Indy.
Yes, thank you, Clarissa. I hope you can see my screen. Yes, so no one is complaining, so it means everything is live. Welcome also from my side, and thank you for being here with us today. And I'd like to start with this presentation to give you an overview of the most important facts about funding in Germany. The next slides will show you what kind of funding organizations there are, key research funding programs that support universities, research institutions, as well as different funding types, so that you can get to know or see what is the most convenient funding opportunity or funding option for you. So maybe before we get into details, let's just go to reasons why to apply or to do research in Germany. First of all, you'll have access to innovative research infrastructures and resources, opportunities for free and creative development. There are generous funding opportunities and stable R&D policy framework, and this is the focus of our talk today. And there's a large scope of international and interdisciplinary networking. I think I saw the word networking also one of the challenges. And last but not least, that in Germany there's also a focus on social and ecological responsibility, and here your research is very valuable for us as well. So without further ado, let's just dive into the funding organizations that there are present in Germany, and I would like to start with the DFG, which is the largest funder of research at higher education institutions and non-university research institutions in Germany, with an annual funding volume of almost 4 billion euros. That was in 2023. Next comes the DAD, where Clarissa, Jana, Robert, and I are working, which is the world's largest funding organization for international student and academic exchange. And we also have Rana, who's was granted a DAD scholarship, and she will get more into that later on. And another research funding institution is the Humboldt Foundation, which supports funding for outstanding individual academics. And Manuel will let us know how his application process were, because he's a Humboldtian. And there are non-university research institutions that do not only conduct research, but also provide funding and support PhD students and academics with scholarships and employment contracts. There are also public and private foundation awards that award individual scholarships with different areas of focus. And Germany is one of the world's leading research and development countries. This is thanks to its being a part or effective system of research support, as well as funding infrastructure and institutions. Germany supports cutting-edge research at universities and non-university research institutions. Furthermore, it fosters cooperation between industry and science and provides support for innovative business business startups. Some of these programs, such as the Excellence Strategy, that supports universities and research institutions by enabling them to expand their own research and strengthening their leading international position. Here are also other ones, but I'm not going to go into details. Yes, but I wanted to mention another funding program, such as the High-Tech Gründerfonds, which supports top researchers directly, enabling them to pursue specific research projects. And another one that I'd like to highlight is the European Research Framework Program, Horizon Europe, which is also of great importance for German research. And the program facilitates collaboration and strengthens the impact of research and innovation by developing, supporting, and implementing EU policies while tackling global challenges. and it supports creation and better dissemination of knowledge and technologies. And we're speaking of over 25 billion euros that are being available for excellent science. And these funds will be allocated to diverse programs, including the European Research Council, the ERC. Perhaps you've heard of it before. And an EU body, and this ERC is a body that aims to promote frontier research by outstanding researchers. So these are all possibilities how you can also get funding. I'd like to just highlight something when it comes to the excellence strategy, because here on the screen you can see how the clusters of excellence, universities of excellence, and excellence alliances are distributed across Germany, showing that excellence is well presented throughout the country. And the federal government and the German states set up the Excellence Initiative since 2005 to provide additional support for research activities in various disciplines at German universities. And we're speaking of a volume of about 4 billion euros that has been invested in order to impact graduate schools or advanced graduate schools, excellence clusters, and future-oriented projects that have enriched the university system. And also they have given research a real boost and created outstanding training facilities, as well as funding opportunities for researchers. So there was just in beginning 2026 a new funding line for the excellence strategy. So take a look at the new projects, because they're always looking for young researchers to conduct their research within these excellence clusters, and they're usually interdisciplinary. So that is for sure a very interesting tip for you. And also a short info or input about the Horizon Europe. The European Union funds top-level research and outstanding scholars and scientists through Horizon Europe, which is a program that is started from 2021 and going on till 2027, which is an ambitious research and innovation programs worth almost 100 billion euros. Yes, its excellent science pillar supports frontier research projects defined and driven by researchers themselves via the European Research Council, the ERC. And it funds fellowships and exchanges for researchers through the Marie Curie actions, and invests in world-class research infrastructures. And in terms of participation in Horizon Europe and the funding received, Germany ranks first among all participating countries. Another aspect that I would like to share with you is the high-tech agenda Germany. This is one of the biggest topics at the moment when it comes to research and or funding for research from the government. So the high-tech agenda Germany aims to significantly enhance the country's innovation and economic power by intensifying investments in future technologies. It focuses on 6 selected key technologies and 5 strategic fields that and research fields. The overarching goal is to capitulate Germany back to the forefront of international technological competition. And here, now I think I will show you the institutes, I think I will just skip through that and show you the 6 technologies that are now a big, the government is focusing on. First of all, artificial intelligence, quantum technologies, microelectronics, biotechnology, fusion, and climate neutral energy, as well as technologies for climate neutral mobilities. Yes, and it also focuses on 5 strategic research fields like aerospace research, health research, security, defense research, marine, climate, and sustainability research, as well as the humanities and social sciences. So take a look if your projects are one of these or apply to one of these. Take a look at the different available funding, and here down below you will find the link. So what kind of expenses would you have as a scholar or researchers in Germany? So one of the issues, or one point to bear in mind, is that in Germany there are no tuition fees at public universities, only the semester contribution. And the living costs are relatively low if you compare it to any other European capital. And the average living cost is approximately 1,150 euros per month. And if you're and for applying, or if you're applying for visa, you need a proof of funding. And in order to obtain a visa residence permit, international students must prove that they have funding equivalent to the current, it's called BAföG rate, which is currently at 992 euros per month. So this is only for you to know that and the background. But if you have funding, in this case, you would not necessarily need this kind of proof if you're applying for a visa. There are different types of funding. Here they're all scattered, but let's take a closer look on each of them in order to help you know, okay, what is the difference? So we'll start with the most common one and known one, which are the scholarships. Scholarships provide financial supports for students, and they are offered by institutions such as a German Academic Exchange Service, DAAD, or foundations and nonprofit organizations. They have a typical duration of 1 to 3 years for PhD, with extension possible, and they are often merit-based with focus areas. We have the research grants, which enable scientists and scholars to undertake a research projects on a defined subjects within a limited period of time. And it also supports specific research projects, either initiated by the researchers or funded within the established project. There are also funding, or the providing funding institutions are, for instance, the European Union or other non-profit organizations. Then we have the research fellowships. They are individual fellowships, and they fund an academic research position at a university or a similar research institution. And they are usually offered by institutions such as the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation, the EU, like for instance the Marie Curie, or the Marie Curie, or from the DFG, the Emmy Noether program. And I think the Emmy Noether program I will show to you shortly as one of the examples. And here it provides funding for independent research, often with international mobility options. Then we have the employment, which involves a contract as a research assistant or research associate at a university or non-university research institution. And they are also often opportunities for paid doctoral positions in research training groups or other structured programs. And they are intended for PhD candidates, postdocs, researchers, as a research assistant, which can be either a part-time or full-time job. And the part-times are usually thought that you would be working in a research group, and at the same time you can continue conducting your own research. And it is intended for postdocs with further qualifications, as well as junior professors, or professors or research group leader. And at public universities or publicly funded research institutions, you have a salary that is based mostly on the German public sector scale. So it's a fixed scale that shows you according to your experience and to your level. It's a specific box, and then you can know how much exactly you will be paid. And the employment can also come as working at a company, because you can also not necessarily only do research at a university or non-university research institution, but also you can do it at a company. And usually they are part-time temporary contracts that allow doctoral researchers to be in order to do their work, and they're usually also under supervision of a professor at a university. So it's usually a kind of a mix between university and the company. Yes, and here I'd like just to give you a couple of information or a couple of examples, and please write your questions in the Q&A box. We will get to them later. Yes, so here, this is one example. This is a DAAD scholarship scholarship program that offers you the opportunity to complete your doctoral degree in Germany. This program provides funding for doctoral projects at a state or state-recognized institution or higher education or a non-university research institute in Germany. And it can be either an individual project supervised by a university, teacher, doctoral, or it can be a participation in a structured doctoral study program. And the funding is provided for a maximum of 4 years. And here you can also see the value, and you usually have also other allowances like payments towards health, accident, and personal liability insurance covers. Sometimes they cover travel allowances and annual research allowances, for instance. But I will show you later where you can exactly find these types of funding or these kind of open opportunities. And here, this is another one through the Max Planck Society in form of a work contract. Just wanted to show that they are really very diverse. For a postdoc, I mentioned it earlier. For instance, there is this Eminöta program, which is for a longer period of time and is a mix of employment contract as well as project funding. And yes, and all the details, I'll show you again where to find them. For postdoc, also the Humboldt Foundation offers different ones in here. You can see that, of course, the value or the allowances differ from PhD to postdocs. And of course, there are also different opportunities for experienced researchers. So I think I'll need to be a little bit quicker and show you where you can find more information. So your first step could be our Research in Germany website. We have a specific web page specifically on funding and jobs. So please take a look at that. Here you will find lots of links and portals that can help you to find a suitable position for you. You can always join our events or watch the previous ones through our success stories here on the top of the page. Here you can also find the database for PhD positions. This is also on our website, where you just need to write your subject and working language, and then you will find a couple of open positions, PhD open positions. And if you're a master graduate, I think we didn't have much of them today, but and you still do not know how PhD works in Germany, I would definitely recommend you to take a closer look at the Pathfinder to do your PhD journey. It gives you different steps to get to more information. Yes. Other sources of information would be through our social media channels. I would also advise you to take a closer look at our newsletter, because this month was focusing on funding, and also through all our channels, we're sharing calls, open calls, and giving information about how funding works in Germany. And of course, do not forget to visit our our events. I also showed you where to take a look at them. And what I would like to share with you now is the scholarship database from the DAAD. This scholarship database does not only show or does not only provide information about DAAD scholarships, but also different funding organizations as well. So it also depends on which country you're from. So you need to write your country down and show us yes, need to type your country, your area of research, and then you will get a couple of information. And I'm happy to have with us today our colleague from the scholarship department, and he will give us a little bit of insights on how to take care of different how to take care or how to avoid any complications when it comes to applying for scholarships. Here are other links that are also important or can help you. And of course, you can check everything online and give us and or send us an email if you have further question. I think I spoke way too much, so I'll stop sharing my screen and move to you, Robert. Thank you very much for being with us today. And just a small introduction, Robert Bude is responsible for scholarship holders in South Asia and Southeast Asia. And maybe you can start by introducing yourself.
Yeah, hello together. Welcome also from my side. As Inji said, my name is Robert. I'm working in the scholarship department in DAAD for incoming students from South Asia and Southeast Asia. Yeah, that is quite limited, you might think, but I think our insight, the insight that I have into the selection process and the application process is valid also for any other form of application that we might talk about today. Scholarship means that we do not have programs or anything for fellowships or PhD positions. However, as I said, I think what we can share is true to a certain extent also for that. Yeah. And we mostly offer scholarship for PhD students as well as master students, but we also have dedicated programs for researchers and university lecturers.
Perfect. Thank you for this introduction. Again, I think today it's more about the process, how it works, what kind of tips you have, and how we can give one on or the other highlight about how scholarships work, and mainly focusing, of course, on DED scholarships, for instance. Okay, so let's start with our first question. Can you talk us through the common timeline of the application process?
Yeah, I mean, that depends a bit on your individual position, but I guess the first thing you need is the goal or the idea, what you want to do. And from that on, you will look for the online resources that have just been presented, and at best, our scholarship database. There you will find certain call for applications. And in these call for applications, you will find a deadline for the application process. And sometimes you see a deadline that is in the past. That means, well, there is no current call for application, but there will be another one. That's why the old one is still active and you can already prepare for that one. It means you have time. If there is an application deadline in the future, it means the application period has already begun and you should read the application and follow the timeline that it's there. For PhD students, that mostly involves at first also contacting potential supervisors in Germany. It's the first thing you should do even before you apply, because that is a requirement for an application. And sometimes this can be time consuming, as not everyone will answer, not everyone will be interested in taking you in as a PhD student. You need to find a good position for that. Maybe you already have contacts, by your university teacher or anything else. And yeah, then the most important part is that you check all the application requirements and then that you are able to fulfill these in the given timeline. Yeah? This is the first test you have to do, and you need to do your own schedule for that.
Yeah, so it's safe to say that every program or every scholarship has its own requirements, it has its own timeline, it has its own, I don't know, steps that need to be taken in order to make sure that everything goes correctly. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. That
Mhm.
is that is the way to do. Yeah.
Okay, so it's sometimes really hard to generalize. I think the first step would be for sure take a look at the database. I think my colleagues can for sure put the link again here in the chat for you to check it out. Perfect. Okay, next step. What makes an application stand out, and how does a strong application look like, and what aspects an applicant must cover? Do you have an idea, or can you give a little bit of tips?
Yeah, so first I should mention this, that we, as in the scholarship department, we do not make the decisions for the applications. Yeah, so we are not the one granting the scholarships. That is done by our volunteer scholarship committees, who are usually university professors. However, we are the ones conduct the process. We administrate scholarships and the selection meetings. For example, I just come back from Indonesia, where I took part in a scholarship selection meeting for scholarship holders from Southeast Asia. And my job was to sit there and listen to what the university teachers talk about and what are the reasons to select someone for a scholarship. And I think what makes an application stands out is first focus. You want to be focused and you want to have a clear goal on what you want to do. Second, this goal should not just be in your mind, but there should be a path visible in your background that leads to this goal. Yeah. I mean, if you learn basketball for your whole life and now you want to become a tennis player, well, that is not going together. There might be reasons for that. If you can provide reasons for something like that, yes. But you want to have focus and a clear goal. And you should be prepared. Yeah. It should show that you have been active already. You should try to get in contact with German university teachers. Make use of your own resources at your current university or at your institute, or just send out emails. I know it's hard to get in touch with university professors, but all their emails are online. You can just look and check who would be good for me, what university would be good for me, and then just send out emails and you will get answers. Yeah. So that's also important. The goal, the supervisor you have chosen, or the place to study, the university, the institute, that should be not just random. It should be specific for what you want to do, and it should be the best place for what you want to do. So yeah, these are some aspects where I know that the selection committee will very closely look at. Yes.
Yes, I think the application needs to kind of stand out. If it's a perfect fit, the same research area that this person is looking for or trying to focus on is exactly the one of the supervisor, then they would take you in and say, ah, okay, this is really a good fit, and it will be beneficial for both parties. So I think this is usually a common mistake, like showing the value added and how this person can really help or support the professor or the institution with their research, and so that it stays a win-win in a way. Perfect. Great. And what are, from your opinion, as you're the one who is seeing the applications and taking a look at them, what are the common mistakes in applications, and how would you advise applicants to avoid them?
I guess the biggest mistake that we see is that applicants do not read the call for application and they do not read it thoroughly. This sounds kind of harsh, but it is true. We can see that a lot of applications are incomplete or do not follow the formal requirements. And yeah, sometimes we check them and we think, oh, there would be a good candidate, but sadly, something is missing. Yeah. And I just can advise you, if you have any form of application, read it like you read a scientific paper. Yeah. Read it like a PhD thesis. Yeah. And you need to follow what is written there. And if you don't understand something, well, then do the same as you would do with a science paper. Ask questions. Yeah. Get in contact with the contact person behind it. Yeah. It is complicated. It is very bureaucratic sometimes, but it's worth it. And do not just read the application. As you can see, for example, in our scholarship database, there is something that's called important information or general information. And also some regulations can be found there. And these are binding regulations. And you have to follow them. And if something is missing or if you do not have the formal requirements for the application, then you will be out, no matter how much effort you put into that. So, yeah, I would say that is the biggest mistake, that applicants do not follow the call for application thoroughly.
It's a pity, of course, if it's a big competition. I think we read the word competition. So like doing the first step, as in making sure all the papers that are needed are there, all the requirements are fulfilled, all the needed documents are accredited or stamped or everything, and the I or the more information is not voluntarily, please check that out. Okay, this is also a very very helpful tip for the audience for sure. Okay, so if they read the application and do the work, are there other or certain skills that can that you would recommend that they do in order to enhance their chances in obtaining a funding? Are there any tips from your side?
I'm not sure if I would call it a skill, but as I said before, show that you are active in regard to what you want to achieve. Yeah, and it should not just be words; it should be shown in what you have done. Yeah, and that would be necessary. Then you should be transparent in your application. Don't be ashamed if you say, "Oh, I'm applying for a scholarship in Germany," but you also apply for one in Australia. Yeah, there is no need to hide that. Yeah, and there's valid reasons for that, but yeah, that's important. No matter in which country you apply, what you also need as a skill, or what you should have done, is that you engage in the culture at least a bit, or in the country. Yeah, you should know what you're getting into. That might just be watching YouTube videos. If you have not been to Germany, I mean, how can you know? You can just check for online resources. But maybe you have a friend who's in Germany, maybe you have family or relatives, or you just reach out through social media to people studying in Germany, or you contact the regional offices of DAAD in your
Yeah.
region and ask them. They have specific tips. You should be aware of what you're getting into. Also contact the universities you are interested in. They have international offices and they provide you with very specific tips and help to what you can expect when you come to Germany. Might be simple things, but it starts with the weather. Yeah, I mean, that can
It's a big
be a
thing.
challenge for certain people. Yeah,
Yeah.
food, accommodation, social life, anything can be a challenge depending uh, on what you are. And yeah, I mean, you should try to know what you're going into.
I think you gave also a very important keyword, the regional offices or the offices abroad, because they are or they can be your first contact as well when it comes to getting more advice about the scholarship programs, because usually they're also focusing on specific countries, and but they also usually offer different events where there are professors who come from Germany and participate in there. And so if you find something, a related topic, then you would know in which fields they're doing the research or what are the advancements at the moment. It can help you maybe decide in which category or which focus you would like to have later on. So get connected if you have an office near you. There are regional offices, information points or information centers. You can for sure get a lot of help and support on the ground. Also, I think through the application process as well, because often they land there and the interviews are sometimes even conducted there. Correct? Yeah. I see you
Yeah,
shaking your
absolutely.
head.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Okay. So, do you know the average funding for PhD postdocs, and what else it can be covered?
You mean the amount now, or
Yeah,
what do you mean?
exactly. Yeah, an average, yeah.
Okay, so for PhD students, we have at the moment 1,400 euros per month with additional benefits and allowances. After that, for postdoc and university lectures, it depends on what kind of position you are at the moment, yeah, but they can be higher, and it also depends on how long will you conduct your research, yeah. So the exact amount is usually stated in the call for applications. It gives you precise information on what you can expect money-wise or any other form of benefits. Some of them don't have a number because they are dependent on your situation, but all of them are designed when they're conducted by DAAD or any other German institution, that they fulfill the requirements for you to, just the formal requirements from an immigration perspective. Yeah, so that will be the case. And it will also be from the living cost, what you said, they will also be covered. Yeah, it's not easy. It's it's not the best
Not
life
high
you might
life.
have. Yeah, but it works. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Robert. I think you'll stay with us anyways. It's now and later, and we can continue with the questions also again at the Q&A. And please continue writing your questions in the Q&A box, where you can find, if you click on the S, you have either polls or Q&A, and please choose the Q&A and add your questions there. Okay, so I think now is the time to hand back to Clarissa. The floor is yours again, Clarissa.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Bude, for your insights. I think these are very rare and helpful tips for our audience. So everyone keep those information in mind when starting your application processes. I think it's pretty good to have this in the back of your head when writing your application. And of course, we are crossing all our fingers for you. All right, so moving on now, it's my great pleasure to introduce Rana Tutunci, who is a PhD student at the University of Bamberg, and her doctoral thesis is dealing with digital technologies in heritage conservation, and she's part of the Bamberg Graduate School for Smart Cities. So Rana, thanks for being here, and over to you.
Thank you for this kind introduction, and hello everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. And now I'm going to share the screen with you. And then okay. Is everything okay? Can you see my
Yes,
presentation?
perfect. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm Rana, and now I'm a PhD candidate at the University of Bamberg and Smart City Graduate School. And today I'm going to share the journey, how I decided to apply for a PhD, the process, the challenges I faced, and how I eventually started my research in Germany. So let's begin with a short overview about the academic and professional journey that I had. Let's put this here. So I have a bachelor in architectural engineering, and then I completed my master in conservation and restoration of architectural heritage in Tehran, Iran, in 2019. And since I was really interested in academic environment, like teaching and doing research, and I also was really interested in experiencing life in another country, I decided to apply for a PhD. And since I know that it's going to take some time, I decided to start working in different companies while I was applying for a PhD as an interior designer, researcher, restoration expert. And meanwhile, I tried to stay in touch with my master supervisor and write papers, conference papers, journal papers, and I tried to take courses to gain more technical and practical knowledge. And eventually I started my PhD officially in October 2023. at the University of Bamberg and the Bamberg Graduate School for Smart City Sciences. So how did I come this far? Generally, as far as I understood, there were 3 different ways to find a PhD. One was a structured doctoral program, which you can find on university websites, DAAD database, or some national portals, depending on the country you are living in, and some websites, some useful websites like Find a PhD, that you can find the advertisements of structured doctoral programs, and they have deadlines, and sometimes you have to take courses. And the second one is project-based PhD positions, which are like funded projects with defined topics, and then you will work as a part of the project, and you can also find them on university websites, academic positions, and LinkedIn, and other websites related to research projects. And the third way is that you have like a proposal that you develop based on your interest, and it's a personal project, individual doctoral program, and then you contact directly to the professors, and then they accept you as a PhD, and you start your PhD position. And that's the way and the path that I followed. So before I start applying for PhD or sending emails to the professors, there were some documents I needed to prepare. Since I was not living in a English speaking country, and I was living in Iran, I had to translate all the academic documents, like the bachelor and master's degree, the transcripts, and the other documents which I knew they would help and they would make my application stronger. Like I was the top student when I was a master, or I had some professional experiences. I attended some workshops, so I translated all of them, official translation, and I prepared them. And the second was preparing for the language exam, and I wanted to study in English. So I just took a look, what is the language proficiency that universities accepted, and it was like IELTS and TOEFL and the minimum number, and I tried to meet the requirements. And the third thing was to develop a research proposal. And here, this was the first actually mistake that I made, because I just prepared a proposal based on my interest, and I started just sending to the professors, and I got no answer. Finally, one professor, one really kind and honest professor, gave me a feedback, and he told me that this issue that you want to work on has been addressed in, for example, Europe for a long time, and it's not an updated topic anymore. So I just know that I'm doing something wrong, and then I started to reading the new publications and taking a look at the projects, and I updated my proposal, and I start sending them again. And the point is, I know this proposal can never be perfect, and once a supervisor accepts you as a PhD student, they also help you to improve your proposal. And even later, when you become a PhD student, you may change the proposal a lot. And the fourth thing that I needed was an academic CV. And if you just Google it or look for it on the internet, you will find a lot of academic CVs and templates, and you can use them to prepare your CV. And the last point was finding potential supervisors, which actually, as I showed you in the previous slide, you can find via Google Scholar, or with, I don't know, networking, conferences, workshops, or when you're reading the publications about and journal papers about the topic that you're interested in, you can get to know the professors and you can send them email. But here, Actually, my biggest challenge started because I started applying and sending emails 2020 to 2024, 2020 till 2022, sorry, when the corona virus spread in the world. So I didn't receive that many positive responses, and universities were not willing to accept new students and professors, and there were not that many funded projects and grants. And I also made some mistakes. The professor were retiring, or the topic was not related to the current projects they had. So this just to tell you some actually challenges I had. And also I have to add this, that I took my IELTS certificate, and then it was just valid for 2 years, and because of the corona everything took longer, and I had to take the IELTS exam again. So I had all these challenges, but the result was out of 185 emails that I sent to university professors, I received 4 interview invitations at the end. And then I had to prepare myself for the interview, and there are some really good points to prepare for the interview, like it's better to take a look at the supervisors, the recent publication and ongoing research projects, and be confident and clear about what you want to do and your idea, and also show how your idea align with the supervisor's work, and to be clear about your skills and abilities, and also the motivation why you are going to choose this university, this project. And also for me, for example, as a non-speaking English person, being confident in communication skills and in language was also really important. And I can say out of those 4 interview invitations, I got 2 admissions offer. And actually, I was really lucky because my professor at the University of Bamberg told me that the topic that I chose aligned really well with the Smart City Graduate School Digital Twin project. So I had this chance to have another supervisor, this second supervisor, the co-supervisor from the computer science, and I became a PhD student in the Smart City Graduate School too. And my professor suggested DAAD research grant, doctoral programs in Germany. I know that in the previous presentations, they told you really good in detail about everything, and you can find the information in detail on the website too. But just to take a look again, it has financial support, monthly income, insurance for health, accident, and travel allowance, research allowance, and some specific supports, like if you're single or if you're married, if you're living in a little expensive actually accommodation, they are like possible subsidies. If you want to take language courses, there are some subsidies, and the funding duration is up to 4 years. That I have somehow passed like 2 years and a half. And the requirements you can see in detail on the website, but there was an online application form, the official translation of academic documents that I told you before, the CV that I had, the research proposal, and the timetable, how I'm going to do this research within 4 years, that I improved it. And I had the support from my supervisor. I had the letter of admission from her, and I also had the recommendation letter from my master supervisor and some other university professors that I was in touch with them. And I also had the language certificate, the IELTS certificate. And this is actually the timeline of what actually the journey that I had. And I finalized the research proposal with my professor in March 2022. And in August, there was a deadline for DAAD application. So I submitted all the documents then. And in March, they announced the result, DAAD announced the result, and we were like, as far as I remember, 15 people from Iran who got acceptance for to pursue a PhD in Germany in different universities. And in April, DAAD made the process really easier for us, and they booked an appointment for visa interview in the embassy. And in July, they actually suggested a 3 months German language course before starting the officially starting the PhD. And it was also with accommodation and some weekly pocket money, as far as I remember. And it was just like focusing on German language and getting to know the culture and the society. And I think it was also really useful. And officially, I started my PhD in October 2023. And since then, the Welcome Center or International Office at our university also helped a lot to find the accommodation, opening a bank account, city registration or Anmeldung, and enrollment at the university or visa extension. They were really supportive in this regard. And my life today, I have been PhD student since 2023, and I'm actually really happy with my academic life. And in the picture on the left, you can see my main supervisor, Professor Mona Hess, and my co-supervisor, Professor Daniela Nicolas, and we in the Smart City Research Lab. And I had this opportunity to participate in summer schools and courses, and to present my papers, my posters, and different activities. And also in the down, you can see a gathering that DAAD organized in Regensburg for us, for DAAD scholarship holders, to meet each other, to do networking. And yeah, actually, I'm really thankful and happy PhD student, and we will see. Hopefully, I'm going to finish in 2027. That was my presentation, and if I'm going to stop this presentation now. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Rana. I think this was super interesting and very authentic, and we all could grasp on how your life looks now at the moment. I think you have a very impressive CV, and congratulations. And I think that we also learned a lot about actually that, yeah, challenges are part of the process, and sending 185 applications is part of it, and you can still be lucky after all, and you just have to be patient and concise, and also, yeah, do your work and really put some effort in it. Yeah. So thank you once again. And
thank you.
I think we already answered some questions in the chat, and also Rana now answered many of your questions already in her presentation. So we will only answer the questions which are still opened in the Q&A session in just a bit. But now we are moving on to our next and final presentation, which will be held by our Meet Your Future UOD, Manuel Limenza. He participated in another event already. He's a dear part of the series now, and he is currently conducting research at the University of Kassel as a research fellow of the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation's International Climate Protection Fellowship. And he holds a Master of Philosophy in Transport Geography from the University of Cape Coast, which is located in Ghana. And I'm now going to hand over to Manuel. The floor is yours.
Okay, good evening and Happy New Year to all of you. It's a pleasure coming back here on a different series, and I must say, Rana, you are my future me. So I took a lot of lessons from you also, and I hope to apply it in future. But let's dive straight into the how to successfully apply for the Alexander von Humboldt International Climate Protection Fellowship. A little background: the Alexander von Humboldt Fellowship, as you may already know, has about 13 programs. So it's the international climate protection is just one aspect of it. So I would go straight ahead, and yeah, I hope my screen can be seen.
Yes, perfectly.
All right, good. Okay. Okay, so the pre-application phase, a lot has been said, and also I'm just going to touch on it lightly. So how do you find some of these opportunities? Use search engines. There are a lot of opportunity portals, social media, making use of LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. There are even WhatsApp channels. I have a WhatsApp channel. I share some of these opportunities. So there are WhatsApp channels like that. And you could also use AI to find some of these opportunities, and I'll get into that later. But then most importantly, you also need to find the right funding. And I mostly get people asking, I want to do this program, or I want to do a master's, I want to do a PhD, or maybe a postdoc. How do I find funding and all that? There are some funding opportunities, for instance. Not all Humboldt opportunities are, not all Humboldt fellowship or awards are open for people, for early career researchers. Also, there are some that are not suitable for probably PhD candidates, but just postdocs. So you need to check the requirement of what you are looking for and see if um, you are eligible to apply. I think in the previous presentations, for instance, for DAD, we saw whether you could check whether your country is listed, and then you apply for whatever you think is suitable for you. But when you find the right funding, the next step you need to do or you need to take is prepare a proposal. So most often people just approach PhD, potential PhD supervisors, but without a proposal. One thing I have noticed with German professors is they want to know what you are coming with. And it goes back to previous presentations where you need to check them out. You need to read their papers. You need to be sure of what they are doing and whether it aligns with what you are doing. Your personal project may not necessarily align with what they are doing. So you may think it's just not, they may not be the best people for you. However, if you are also flexible and you think, okay, you can jump on their topic because it's a very interesting topic and it's within your field, then go for it. But that said, you need to approach them with a proposal. If you don't approach with a proposal, they are most likely to ignore you. Also, if you check out the opportunities and you tell them, this is, I came across this opportunity, you are the lead researcher for this project, and this is what I am bringing on board. This is how I think I can feed into your projects. They are much likely to give you the audience. So what did you do next? You have to find a host, and you would ask yourself, so if I'm not in Germany, how am I going to find a German host? And you have to make use of social media once again. You have to make use of websites. You have to make use of AI. And I'm saying AI because from my personal experience, not with Humboldt, but with other applications I tried putting in, I had my proposal ready, and then I used AI and asked AI which professors in Germany would be suitable for this work. And then AI made some recommendations. So of course, it's not perfect. There were some people it's recommended who were retired and all that. So I did my CV and did my background checks well. And yes, I contacted some of them and they've been quite successful. So yes, finding a host, you need to use your social media very well in finding a host. And then lastly, you place your application. Always check for the application deadline. One thing I do, one thing I always do is when I find a program, I look at when it is. I look at when it ends, the deadline ends, and then I put it on my calendar. and a month to the deadline ending, probably if I have a lot of time, it gives me a reminder every week that you have to submit your application in a week or in a month, you know. So there is that constant reminder. So don't, sometimes it gets quite overwhelming, especially with dealing with life and all that. So you may sometimes even forget that you have such applications pending. So just put it on your calendar, a reminder maybe, so that you are reminded of placing your application. If you miss the deadline, you would have to wait for another 1 year, and it's not pleasant. Okay, so after putting in your application, you luckily you are shortlisted. What do you do? So for me, this is my personal experience, and everything I'm saying is my personal experience. So um, one, inform your host of your shortlisting. Let them know that, okay, I have been shortlisted, because the truth is sometimes you may not, nothing may necessitate you talking with your host or whoever your supervisor is. So this is one of the ways to revive the conversation for them to know that, okay, what we discussed earlier on is ongoing, because they are also moving on with their lives. They have other projects and they are most of the time not even thinking about you. And then find past fellows of the program. So I, for instance, when I got shortlisted for this fellowship, I contacted my host and she connected me to people who have been past fellows who she's hosted. And these people took me through a lot of preparations for the interview and told me what to do, what not to say, how I should go about it. And we had a lot of, so it takes me to the third and fourth steps. We had a lot of, I prepared my presentation materials, I shared with them, they made inputs. We made a lot of mock-up presentation interview processes to make sure I was on time, because with the Alexander von Humboldt, I think you have about 5 minutes to pitch your proposal and make it convincing. So I had to do that for like 2 months. Yeah. I got shortlisted in June, July, I guess, and my interview was in September. Yeah, so I had a lot of time to do this. And then prepare your interview room. Make sure the lights is working. You have adequate light. Your laptops are working, like your gadgets and your devices are working. But you should always have a backup laptop or power source or internet, because from my personal experience, what happened to me in 2024 was I set up my room 2 weeks to the interview date, everything. And then the night before my interview, we had a general blackout, which lasted for 2 days. So for the first 2 days of my interview, I didn't have like normal electricity from the national grid. And I had to deal with power outages and all that. So you just have to come prepared with your backup laptops and internet and all that, and then dress appropriately also for the interview. I have heard from other experts that they look at some of these things to show whether you are taking the interview or whatever you're applying for seriously. So it also counts. And then set a calendar also as a reminder to be on your time, to be on time for your interview. So most often they would advise you should log in 5 minutes to time, but I entered the interview room 10 minutes to time. I was seated, but I entered 10 minutes to time. So, I mean, when you go through all these, I'm always sure preparation always meets luck, and that is where success comes in. So, you officially go through the interview process and you get your email that you've passed the interview process and now you are a fellow or you're an incoming fellow. So what do? You make sure you get your letters of confirmation from Alexander von Humboldt or wherever, and whichever is granting you the funding, and start preparing your visa application. Also, there are also pre-fellowship meetings, or yeah, there are certain meetings that happen where you are oriented, told what to do, what you may need for your visa applications, and all that, where you can ask all the questions you need to ask. So you would have to have those things in place. You would also have to be at the meeting. and then get your visa and travel documents ready. I was quite prepared. So for the first time ever, I had my visa 3 days right after going for my interview, which is quite unusual. And it was because of the type of funding I was in, and I had all my documents intact. But this is just peculiar to me because I know other fellows who had to join months after we had started, and it wasn't pleasant also. And then constantly check your mails for updates, especially from your funding agency and others, because there is always new information. There may be changes and all that. So please check it and then book your visa appointments as soon as possible. Also, learn Deutsch in your own small way, and if possible, opt for an intensive German class. I was using Duolingo, DW German, and all that. So when I came to Germany, although my Deutsch wasn't perfect then, and it's not perfect now, but it's better than when I came. I was able to get around the town, and I realized that Germans are generally nice people, but they are more welcoming when you speak Deutsch with them. Like they get so excited and they're able to like assist you with whatever you are doing. And then if you have any issues, like it was said earlier on, kindly contact your contact persons, especially for AVH. They have specific people who handle your applications or your files for your lifetime. So those are the people you should speak to. And then finally, willkommen in Deutschland. Welcome to Deutschland. You're welcome to join us. Humboldt and DAD has always been a big family. I know people who have been Humboldtians and they later applied for DAD funding. Then there are people who applied for DAD funding and applied for the Humboldt Fellowship. Now, I must say also that the Humboldt Fellowship, especially the program I applied for, which is the International Client Protection Fellowship, is for early career researchers and postdocs. So if you are looking for a postdoc to do, this is one of the fellowships you could look at. Aside that, there's also the Georg Foster and other things. So you just need to check them out and see whether you are eligible for them. So my life as a Hamboshian, I'm sad to say my fellowship ends officially next week. And so that was us with the Minister of State, also during our presentation ceremonies and all. And these are pictures with my friends. I am saying friends because we've grown to become friends instead of just colleagues. And one nice thing about the Humboldt Fellowship is that you get to meet the president of Germany, so not the chancellor, the president. So you will see us in a selfie with him. But we do have a lot of fun despite having to research and all that. And it's always great catching up with our colleagues. So yes, my life in Germany as a Humboldt Fellow has always been fun, and I look forward to seeing you all someday. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Manuel. My video is about to show up, hopefully. Yeah. Thank you so much. I think this was another super interesting career path and individual life path you just shared with us. And I think the paths are very different from Rana and Manuel. And I think it's super enriching to have those two perspectives and two different funding opportunities. And yeah, we're super grateful for the two of you to be here. And I'm now opening the floor for our Q&A session. So I'm going to start with a question to Rana, which has been asked quite frequently, I think. There were people who were asking if you have any experiences with conferences and fairs, and if you have any networking tips, because even Manuel, he also grasped upon the point of how important it is to do networking. And I think you also mentioned it in your presentation. So do you have any tips when it comes to this on how to get into contact?
Yeah, I mean, when you follow the topic that you're interested in, you start getting to know people, and when you're reading the publications and papers, you get to know the professors and supervisors and project managers, and then you can follow them on LinkedIn, for example. And in my case, when I was writing the proposal, I even used some of the papers that my current supervisor published them, you know. So I was somehow I had good, I don't know, somehow I knew what she is working on. And yeah, if you have this opportunity to attend the courses and conferences, this is also important that in the times between you find the people, you talk to them, you share social media, like, I don't know, LinkedIn addresses, and you follow each other. I think it's really important. And the thing that really helped me was staying in touch with the professors that I had from my previous degree, actually.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Yeah, this networking. I mean, maybe Manuel, you can add on what Rana just has been saying. You also are good at networking, as we can see in your social media and all your other activities. I think it's great. Do you have any more tips?
Yeah, so my current host was someone I met during my master's back in Ghana. We worked on a project together, and if you followed past series, I always say I found the fellowship a few days to the deadline, and she was the one I could easily contact. And because we have that connection, we kept talking after the project ended. She readily jumped on to help me. So that's the power of networking. Also, I tried applying for a PhD, and the professor I got in touch with who agreed to was someone I had met during one of the Alexander von Humboldt study tours. So I just reminded him that I was at your presentation on this day. I was the one who asked this question, and I loved your project. He was like, "Oh yes, okay, we can. I think we can do something." So networking is very important. Don't just take the contact cards of these professors and be bagging them. Let them also feel that you are bringing value to their projects also. Yeah.
Great, thank you. I think that's a huge point, this networking aspect, and also being proactive. And yeah, don't be too shy. And if you have a goal, you have to be proactive and work for it. Yeah, I think there was another question, Indy.
Yes, exactly. I can jump into that because we had multiple questions about people who are already in Germany and they don't know to which things they can apply. Maybe Robert, you have an idea or a suggestion what they could do in that case?
Yeah, so this is sometimes a complicated situation. Yeah, so if you are already in Germany, that means you are either regarded as a student in Germany. That means you are equal to a German who wants to go abroad. Yeah. So in cases for DAAD scholarships, we usually fund incomings from other countries coming to Germany or outgoings, people who go from Germany to other countries. And it depends on your status. If you are already in Germany as a foreigner and you want to stay in Germany, then I have to say that the funding options from DAAD are limited. Yeah, there are other funding organizations for things like that, but in that cases you will be regarded basically as a German. Yeah, so you will compete with Germans for German scholarships dedicated for people studying in Germany. That is an important thing. If you already are in Germany and you have, for example, started a master or a PhD and you still want to apply for a DAAD scholarship as an incoming student, then you have to carefully read the call for applications. Sometimes it is possible, for example, for PhD scholarships, but there is a limit to that. You can only be in Germany for 15 months prior to the application deadline, usually. Yeah, so that is an important thing about that. Yeah, so
There are maybe other ways. Maybe I can jump.
Yeah.
Yes. So I
Yes.
would definitely encourage you also not to look maybe at funding, but maybe at PhD positions or postdoc positions, because you're already here. You can maybe visit the university, go and have a direct contact with the people. So that is definitely a positive or an edge that you can go for. And maybe again, finding other sources. Usually you can also contact the international offices. I know that sometimes they receive funding for other things, not necessarily for internationals, but also to support researchers in general. Some are usually dedicated specifically for internationals. So contact your international office at the university you're at the moment. And they usually sometimes also have, I don't know if it's still on or it's cancelled, also funding conferences and going abroad. These are fundings that only universities or research institutions can apply from the EAD, for example, and they can give it further to the students or to the researchers. So I would definitely advise you also to check on that. Yeah. So try finding different ways if this route is not open for you at the moment.
Thanks. I think this was actually a question which you just now answered. Indeed, that's great. Someone was asking for exactly that. Yeah, one more question, maybe for Rana, because there was this question with a first contact with the supervisor. So many people were asking, is that the actual first step when you're applying? Do you have to contact the supervisor at first? And then what do you attach in the first email? So maybe you can show us, or not show us, of course, but yeah, somehow take us along with your first email, what you attached and how you wrote it, and what do you find most important when it really comes to this first initial contact with the supervisor.
For me, it was like that in the first email. I used to send my CV and say, yeah, I am this and I studied this and I'm interested in this topic, and I know that you're also working on this topic, and I would be happy if we can discuss the my PhD idea, and if you have time to talk about the proposal. And then if I receive positive feedback, I would send them the proposal, or they ask to have an interview and talk about the proposal I send them. So I would say on the first email, I used to just send my CV and the idea that I had, and showing them that I already know about the projects and the research that they are doing. And later, if they said yeah, positive reaction, I would send a proposal or talk in like an online interview about the proposal.
Yeah, great. Thanks. I think this is an important point, because you mentioned here that the first contact is actually not 10 pages email, right?
No.
It
Yeah.
has to be
Yeah.
it has to be focused. It has to be not taking too much time of the professor, because we all know that professors are super busy, receive so many emails. So you really have to be focused when you write this email and concise. Manuel, do you have something to add to this? Because you have also been looking for contacts. How's your experience so far as you're looking for your PhD position?
So I followed Rana's path also, but I kept mine very brief. I started with, so this was the golden ticket. I started with, I am an Alexander von Humboldt Fellow. So that set the pace for everything. And I made them know I'm already here. If they want to meet up, I don't mind picking a train to come meet you up. But this is what my research is about in just 2 paragraphs. And then I told them if they were open for discussions, we could either meet or, just meet online. So I think basically that's was it. It's the same format for me also, yeah.
Okay, yeah, great, thank you. I think, this direct contact, and also the first impression, and or maybe that you know this person, even if it's not directly, and addressing them is probably the best way. Because if you're no one, so to say, and your first contact is super long and not completely direct, it might be a bit complicated. A tiny question. Someone was asking for your WhatsApp channel, Manuel, and maybe you're willing to share, or we can see about that. You can see the question in the Q&A box, so
Yeah,
feel free
I
to
think
answer.
I will type it. I will type it in there later. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, Indy, you had another
Perfect.
question.
Yes, I do. It's to Robert, and we have one question in the Q&A box, which says, I would like to ask whether there are many applicants competing for postdoctoral positions. Do applicants from different countries face the same level of competition? And may I ask how much the monthly postdoctoral scholarship is? Do you have an idea about that?
Yeah, so I would say in general, the amount of competition differs on your country of origin. Yeah, so usually you compete with people from your country, from the same country of origin. For postdoctoral research stays, that is different. Yeah, there usually people from one region compete with each other. So nevertheless, I would say you would be surprised how good your chances sometimes can be. Yeah. So don't be disencouraged just because you think there's the chances are very low. That is not necessarily the case. And it varies vastly from one selection period to the other. Yeah. So don't think, I don't have a chance anyways. That's not true. Yeah, you always have a chance, and that should absolutely encourage you to apply for that. So, and regarding the funding rate, that should be for postdoc researchers, would also be 1,400 euros in general. Yeah. But for, as I said, for university lectures, this might be higher, depending on the program you are actually applying for. But for postdocs, it will also be 1,400 euros plus additional benefits. Yeah. So these benefits depend on the duration of your scholarships. So there could be a research allowance of about like 460 euro, usually for 12 months. You will get a rent subsidy depending on the actual rent contract you have. Also, health insurance is covered, which is a big relief. You don't have to take care of that. Yeah, there will be a travel allowance subsidy for that. So yeah, these are general benefits that you will also receive with that. So you cannot say, oh, there is a fixed amount. That depends on your individual situation, which I think is a big benefit for DAAD, that we actually pay attention to what you need. Yeah, so that is one aspect about that I think is very good.
Perfect.
Yeah, great.
Oh.
Thank you. Very important to have that perspective in mind as well. Yeah. Thank you so much. One final question. We already reached the end of our session, but I would like to mention this question because it's a quite frequent question, and it's regarding having gaps in your CV and also being maybe a bit older when applying for scholarships or fellowships. What is your stand on that matter? How are the chances? And is there any regulation, or is there any limit? Is there something you could say to that, Mr. Bude, maybe?
I'm sorry, I was just answering a question in the chat. Sorry.
Do not worry. It's
Yeah,
a
sorry.
question regarding if you have any gaps in your CV, if you're a bit older, if you have been,
Okay. Yeah.
you know, if you have
Age
gaps and
limitation.
Yeah, okay.
So on.
Yeah, I get it. Sorry. Yes, of course. I saw that also. So there is no specific age limitation for DAAD scholarships. However, the last university degree should not be dating back longer than 6 years. Nevertheless, to these are exceptions, and we have these in our scholarship important information on our scholarships, in which cases this period can be extended. So for every child that you have in the, for example, the period is extended for 3 years. If you have mandatory military service, if you take care of relatives, yeah, all this can extend the period, the eligibility period in that time frame. But that needs to be checked in every case. So if you think, oh yeah, that applies to me, please read carefully what there is. Any special circumstances that can explain a delay between your last university degree and the time of your application, put it in the application or contact us before that, and we can answer. Yes, you can apply, or no, you cannot apply. Yeah, so that is a point. Any other gaps in your CV, whether it would be to the discretion of the selection committee if they regard that as an important factor, but anything can be explained, I guess. Yeah. So, of course, personal situations are a valid reason why there can be gaps. Yeah? Life happens, and we are aware of that as selection committee also.
Thanks. I think this was a rather uplifting final word from your side, that there is an explanation for everything. And yeah, if you are able to give a good explanation, probably the chances are there that you're, even though there are some gaps in your CV, that you're able to get some funding. Yeah, unfortunately, we have reached the end of our Q&A session. And yeah, I would now like to thank everyone for joining us today, and a special thank you to our dear speakers for your so inspiring and insightful presentations and interviews, and your expertise and perspectives have made this event truly valuable. And to our audience, we appreciate your very active participation and your thoughtful questions. They are always very interesting, and I hope we could answer most of them. We will try to answer them in a written manner now, even 2 more minutes. And yeah, thank you for your engagement. This is what makes those events so impactful. And please, now it is the time to take the feedback we would like to get. So we have a little survey prepared, and Inti is going to show the questions in just a minute. But before that, I would like to advertise for our upcoming event on 17th of March at 4 p.m. as well. And the next topic will be women in science. I think this is matching to a few questions we had today, because being a woman in science nowadays is becoming better and better, but still not great, even in Germany. So I think this event is very interesting. We have invited super interesting speakers, women in science, who are quite successful and do have very interesting paths, and they will share their expertise. And yeah, and now I'm just going to finish by saying thank you again, and we will look forward to seeing you in our next event. And now we share the final survey we would like you to answer. Thanks again, and we hope to see you soon, and stay here for 2 more minutes with us. Oh, and just on a side note, yeah, the recording is going to be available for everyone. The presentation as well, it's going to be uploaded on our Research in Germany website. We indicated the link in the chat, and it's probably going to be online within the upcoming week. So stay tuned and check our website. Yeah, and thanks for your feedback. Keep putting in your honest and good willing feedback. That helps us a lot. See you on the 17th of March, hopefully. Bye.